Descript is the best video editor if you value ease of use, easy shareability, you have many long videos that you want to convert to shorter videos. You don't need advanced edits and super high quality graphics, which is becoming more redundant because of AI actually. And you want to stay organized. I've used Descript for almost a year now, and it has helped me grow from 0 to 800,000 followers/subscribers across social media, and I'm going to be talking today about my 6-step Descript system, going over a demo on how I actually go through the entire process of editing a video. The first step is cut and chapter, then gaps, fillers, sound adjustment, subtitles, and new compositions. And I'm going to go through all of these right now. But before I get into the cut and chapter section, I want to discuss how I film these videos. I am using OBS, which is a free software, and I have my Mac plugged in to a docking station, which has this microphone hooked up to it. Behind me, there is a green screen. As you can see in this view right here, I have this green screen. It is retractable, so it goes up into the sky. It starts out on the ground, and you can lift it up. It's super easy to use. I'm going to do a full video on OBS, but basically, yeah, you just record. And then after you're done recording, do not worry if you make mistakes. Do not worry if there's large gaps in between sections in your video, or if you just stop talking mid-sentence. Descript makes it insanely. Just cut those out. And once you're done filming your video by hitting this stop button right here, you are going to drag it into a new Descript composition. Let's dive into this first one, which is cut and chapter. Descript is incredibly minimalistic, which is why I like it so much. It's so easy to use. I am actually going to be using one of our lives that we did in Future of Content. And so we're going to download this video right here. It's probably going to be huge. Okay, 2.3 gigabytes. It's 2 hours long. But we want to make sure we get this cut down into a way that just flows super nicely and is able to be cut up into a bunch of different clips. So once you have your video, you're going to go to downloads and you're just going to add the file. You're going to press add file, and it's going to take some time to add the file into Descript. And then once it loads, if there's multiple speakers, you can actually press 2. And what it will do is it'll actually detect the speakers. This is a video between me and Joe, who is a wizard with Zapier and ClickUp and other automations. So right now it is cutting between my dialogue and Joe's dialogue. Once it detects multiple speakers, it'll ask you to identify them. Let's just press identify speakers and get started.
Wait, I want to pause here. I want to pause here real quick.
So that is
Can you
Riley.
open up a
dip.
Each one of these is a step.
Joe.
We're teaching Zapier.
Yeah, so just where we were before.
Me again.
There it is.
Okay. Yeah, it's really important, guys.
That's also Joe. So now you can see that there are speaker labels added. Okay, so let's go over the interface here. It's very simple. You have your text on the left here. These are all the words that are said. If you hit space, it will begin to go through the video. Anytime it's blank, that is basically empty space. There's nothing going on. So you can highlight that and press backspace. Delete. Now, what is up, my friend? It goes straight to when I start talking. And that is the basic premise here. On the right side of the screen, this is the video. In this specific video, I am talking on the screen for a little bit, and then it's going to go to a different view, which should be me and Joe right here. And you can edit the video by removing text. I can literally highlight a part of the text. Part of the video is now gone. And like with any tool, you can press Command Z, and this will come right back. There is a timeline, but I do not start out using the timeline. The timeline is useful, and it's incredibly easy to use if you don't want a gap or you want some little gap between words. As you can see here, this is someone speaking. And if you press right here, it'll take you to that exact location of what I am saying in the video right here. So this part of the timeline matches up with this part of the text editor. And when you highlight this part of the editor, it also highlights this part of the text. And so it goes in tandem. And as you can see here, if you have the timeline open, while you remove something, watch this, you press backspace, it gets removed from both the timeline and the editor. Let's Command Z that, and that's the basic premise. But I always start off with no timeline. In fact, I just finish with the timeline when I'm doing fine details. If it is a YouTube video that I care deeply about retention, especially in the early part of the video, and I want to adjust the spacing between specific words if I want to be more particular. But generally speaking, you can handle most of the work straight from the text editor. So once you have the video entered into Descript and you're basically ready to edit, then you can begin the first step, which is cut and chapter. This phase is about removing big parts of text. You do not need to remove the spacing in between words because that can be done automatically towards the end. And so you want to go through it multiple times in different processes. I've found that it's a lot faster and more efficient than trying to do everything at once as you go through. So if you see here on this left column right here, and let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. Yeah, this is a chapter and it coincides with slash marks. First of all, I'm going to name it. So live stream, and it is the automations number. And so that is the name of this composition. And what we're going to do here for later is we're going to enable multiple compositions and just press new, and we can leave this as untitled for now. This is for when you want to make a ton of different clips, and I'll get to that in a second. So this is the first chapter. And I am very quickly going to click right here and I'm going to add a parentheses. And this allows you to add text. And this is how I create chapters. I'm going to type in intro and I'm actually going to hit hashtag intro. I always put a hashtag in front of whatever text I enter because that allows me to search just the text later. I can come in and hit Command F and do hashtag, and it will take me exactly to where the hashtags are in the script, so I can just see all of the comments later. But you don't necessarily have to do that because you can go straight to the chapters just by clicking on this left column here. So let's start this process and you'll see me go through this. So what is up, my friends? Ben, Lucas, Quentin, Source, Lee Cantor. Welcome in, Jen. Good to see you guys, Bianca. So I actually don't need a lot of this. So like, what's up, my friends? What's up, everybody? Let's say I wanted that to be the thing. So I just removed that chunk of text. What is up, my friends? What is up, everybody? This is going to be, in my opinion, this is going to be the best series of lives. So I'm going to say this is going to be, and I don't want to say in my opinion, this is going to be the best series of lives. This is going to be, and so I don't want to repeat myself, the best series of lives. So now I'm just saying this is going to be the best series of lives. And I say, actually, I want to announce next Thursday. And I'm like, actually, I'll wait until there's more people in the room. I don't need to do this. So what I can do is just select all of this and bring it down to right here and press backspace. And so now this is what we have. What is up, my friends? What is up, everybody? This is going to be the best series of lives. Super hyped for the stream. Super pumped for today. Thank you so much for hosting. What's up? Howdy. And so now I'm done reading people's comments. And you know what? Let's say I don't actually want to do that. I don't need to say any of this. And now I'm saying, you ready to learn some automation? That's good as a hook. You ready to learn some automation? I'm still learning. I've never learned more than I have in my life about AI since I started working with Joe. And so I just don't need that second word. Anything that's underlined in blue, you don't have to remove it because that is a filler word. And that's actually one of our steps that we're going to go through. But you're basically just trying the sections to flow together. You don't need to remove the empty space. You don't need to remove that. We're going to handle that all in one singular pass that will take just a few minutes. Normally, I edit on 1.75 because I'm crazy and I have a very busy schedule. And so you can edit like this. I've never learned more about AI since I started working with Joe. As soon as I met Joe, I'm like, there he is. Okay, so I was interrupted by Joe, so we can just get rid of this right here. And then you see it says Joe labeled right here. What's up? Yeah, we'll probably just hang out for a few more minutes, let people file in. Let me throw some stuff up on Instagram. And so this is a part where I just take a bunch of time to post about the live stream so we can get it here. And let's just, for this gigs here, let's just skip down to when Joe starts talking about Zapier and Make. So we can just get rid of all this stuff. We were just rambling about random stuff here and we just got rid of it. It's easy as that. And if you ever get lost, if you ever feel like, oh, where was I in the timeline? Just hit space and it'll start speaking and it'll take you back to where you need to go. I just want to add one thing there. So I've actually had that feeling too, that Zapier is kind of inaccessible. It's also good to just see how many times you say kind of and like, and it's something that I definitely need to work on. Let's say we want to just snag all of this section. This is a section that may be good for the community, but it's likely we won't need it. And so we're going to come up here and I'm just going to grab this whole section right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Command X. And what that's going to do is cut it. And so you can see it's loading the cut right here. And so it's going to remove it, but basically keep it on my clipboard. And so I can come to compositions up top. And so this, you have a main composition at first, and then you can add other compositions. So I'm just going to put archive, and then you just come in here and you just click in like you're typing and hit Command V. You can see this right here. It's going to paste all of that video into this. For clips, what I do, let's say I wanted this to be a clip right here. I would actually just select this and make it green. So I make all of these green parts clips, and you can actually quickly find highlights at the end, which I'll get to in a second. But let's say we just wanted that to be a clip here, for example. I wait until the end to put those into separate compositions. And if you have categories of clips, let's say you have clips that you might want to use on LinkedIn. You might say, oh yeah, this will be a great video for LinkedIn, right? You can make that blue. And so you can have them divided by channels. And that's a good way to do notes without having to create separate compositions. I think that's the easiest. And you can also find different parts of videos that you want together. So that's how I do it at the beginning, is I'm not looking for clips. I'm looking for categories of clips that might go together, so that later I will add all of the green highlights to one specific new composition. And from there, you can edit or send it to an editor to create a bunch of different clips for it. That's kind of how I think about it. And okay, so let's go ahead and move to our next section, which is gaps. And so this is a fun one. Okay, so for this next part, I'm just going to create a shorter one. I recommend starting not with 2-hour live streams. And so I just want to take this one short clip here and I want to basically go through it. So imagine we've added some sections here and we have Riley's. So this is the part of the tutorial I want to dig deeper into. Let's say we've already gone through and this is the exact part that we want to keep. And of course, there's some mistakes here and we actually haven't gone through this part yet. I'm just trying to show you as an example. But what you're going to do is you're going to come up to actions and just type in gaps. And there's going to be an option that says shorten word gaps. What you're going to do is you're going to determine the pace that you want. I have found that for longer tutorial-based videos where you're not super worried about retention, this is a pretty good setting, and I actually like 0.05. What this is saying is where there is a larger gap of 0.4 seconds, so any long breath that you take, it will actually remove that gap and shorten it to 0.05 seconds. This is aggressive. This is good for longer TikTok videos. If you're going for a short TikTok video, I know some people who go like 0.15 seconds down to 0. So there's no gaps whatsoever. And you can press shorten all. And if you do, it removes them in one click.
Okay, it's done. So we're going to move on to our next one, post a comment and click up. Event is post a comment.
However, that is problematic sometimes. So I just hit Command Z. It added all of those word gaps back. And what I actually prefer to do is to open the timeline when it is a very important video. If it is a tutorial, training, or a video you want to send to someone quickly, or a video you're not worried about getting a ton of views, it's not super necessary. But what you can actually do is you can use this field right here and go one by one. And what it does is it takes you directly to that gap area and you can hit shorten.
Post a comment.
And you can actually click decide one by one. So if you come to the timeline and zoom out, you can actually see it at a better view. So we're watching this gap right here, which coincides with this part of the text right here. And so what we can do is we can hit down, then back up.
Continue. All right, so we're
And
going to
so we can see during that gap that that's not necessary. So we can hit
process
shorten.
this time relatively.
And if it's one where I'm speaking, I'll just click through them all. What you're looking for is ones where it makes a mistake. And so Descript, I would say, has like a 90% success rate or a 95% success rate. So it's not 100. It might remove words like AI for whatever reason. When you say AI, it doesn't recognize that's not a gap. That is a word like AI. Because if you say it actually includes that in the word gap. And so it'll remove that. So it's very useful because it will remove gaps. And then if you start the next sentence with it will remove the as well. But it does mess up, I would say, probably 3 to 5% of the time, which is why you can just go through them. And so what I'm doing is I'm looking visually at this timeline right here. As you can see right here, there's no words in it. So I know that's going to be fine. And so I just click
ID.
And so you see how there's a little blob right there? Sometimes it will be an important word in there and it will still remove it. And so that's what we're looking for. So good, 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 good. But in this case, Joe's actually doing a tutorial and those little pauses are actually good. So the viewer can actually follow what he's doing. So if it's a tutorial based, I don't recommend doing it this aggressively. I recommend doing something less aggressive, which might be 0.8 seconds. And so that's way less gaps, right? Now it went down from 30 to 8. And so we can just shorten this, shorten. I want to find one that doesn't get it right, but they're continually updating it. So it is getting better and better with those gaps. And so now we're back to the beginning and that's all of the gaps removed. Let's watch this.
Okay, it's done. So we're going to move on to our next one. Post a comment and click up. Event is post a comment. Continue, continue.
So there you go. You can see that it flows quite nicely. So if we go to our PowerPoint presentation here, we see that the next step is fillers. So type in filler. So this is remove filler words. As you can see here, if you say words twice in a row, it will highlight those. And so we can go one by one.
Continue, continue.
And you just hit remove.
Called whatever it's called. Okay, space.
You see, that's an removed.
Your
along with custom. And so you see how I said along with custom, I was interrupted. And this is going to allow me to just remove that right there.
Like your.
And so now this is that same sentence.
Along with custom fields in ClickUp, you can also add comments. And it's just a fun, nice thing. And after using this on...
And so I just realized this is not a great sentence. And I can actually just get remove along with custom fields in ClickUp. You can add comments. And I can just click up.
You can also add comments and seeing like when my PDF report was ready and it goes like a comment from Joe, like your report is ready. It's just like a nice experience.
So along with custom fields, you can also add comments and that's good. We don't need any of that.
It's just like a nice experience to see. And it's a reminder and it tells you when your PDF is ready. So I think it's really slick.
So we got rid of all of those filler words. And so we have just a nice clip here. We can move to the fourth section, which is sound adjustment. So if we are in this new example, you're going to press layers and you're going to turn on studio sound. What this is going to do is applying studio sound. This is a lot like the Adobe feature, which is like enhance speech or something. I forget what it's called, but it makes it sound a lot better. So if you're not using the best microphone, this is a good option. You can also do it manually, but preferably, I just like using studio sound. If the sound is 90% as good as it can be, that is ideal to me. This takes a little bit of time. It's going to go through the whole script and apply that studio sound. While that's working, we can actually move on to the next step, which is subtitles. So let's say that I wanted to add subtitles to this video here, where again, we're going to come up to actions at the top. We're going to do captions and we're going to hit insert captions. These are the most easiest to edit and add subtitles out of any tool. And you can do a lot with these subtitles. We can see that we have the text style and I like this Gossoek 1 and it takes a little bit to load the font. And there we go. And when you add captions here, it's pulling from this data right here. So let's say it got comment wrong. And this was actually a different word. You can hit correct and you could put taco.
Event is post a comment.
And you see that it says comment is turned to taco. So that when you create those subtitles,
it will put taco.
Event is post a comment, continue. All right, so
let's say we want to make these subtitles a little bit smaller. We're going to put them right here, and we don't want them to take too much space. And we want them to be not where they're blocking anyone, maybe down here in this left corner. And let's say that we actually want to add a shadow. And so we can add a shadow, and we can actually change this, and we can change all these settings here. And this adds nice depth to these subtitles. And we can make them like directly behind. And so what we can then do here is we can go to this style. And this is the most important part in my opinion. So you have the active word and future words. And so the active word is the word right now that we're on is so. And what we can make that is we can make that filler be whatever color we want. So we can make it this blue color if we wanted. And so now when we play it,
okay, it's done. So we're going to move on to our next one, post a comment and click up. Event is post a comment, continue.
I personally don't use captions that much anymore because my videos are generally educational, and I think it distracts the viewer if they're reading captions and watching a specific part of the video. It's hard to do both. In fact, you don't want them to do both. You want them to be paying attention to the specific thing that you are doing. And Joe is doing a tutorial. If I'm speaking to the camera, then it's a little bit different to have the captions relatively close to your mouth, because you want them to be able to watch you and watch the captions at the same time. You don't want the captions to be competing with whatever video that you're doing. That's just something that I've learned through 400 videos on TikTok. But if we come back here and we are going to press custom style, let's increase the size of the border to 5. And let's also make the background just black here. And let's actually get rid of that shadow. I've found that that works pretty well. And just so you guys can see it better, I'm just going to go 80 and make this larger so you guys can see it.
So we're going to do this process 3 times in a row right now. So I'm going to run through it this time relatively slowly.
So I definitely don't like the blue inside the text. So we're going to come into captions. We're going to make sure that the active word, which is the word that it is on, right? So there is a fill and future word. So the fill is past words. There's active word and future words. And I like to make the future words very boring. So like a gray color is pretty good. And so for the fill for this one, maybe white will actually just look the best. And so let's take a look at that.
The other two I'm going to do quickly because they're the exact same process multiple times in a row. Okay. Workspace, Riley Brown. Which again, your workspace is going to...
If you look at the timeline here, I'll zoom in a little bit. Captions get added automatically on top of the timeline. For whatever reason, these were cut into 2 sections. I might have done that by highlighting a part and then editing the captions, which is okay. Because all we need to do is remove this second half here and then just drag the captions all the way to the end of the clip. And so I just dragged them all the way to the end of the clip here. And here you can see that now captions are going to be consistent all the way across.
So I'm going to run through it this time relatively slowly. The other two I'm going to do quickly because they're the exact same process multiple times in a row.
And yeah, so that is subtitles. Obviously, you're not going to make them that big. I just did it so you could see it. And you would probably choose something like 35. And you can do long subtitles, or you can change the size. All you have to do is make the size. So now it's just one singular row, which I think looks pretty good. And you can change the font to this. This looks cleaner.
Okay, it's done. So we're going to move on to our next one, post a comment and click up. Event is post a comment, continue. All right, so we're going to do this process.
And we can come down to custom. And I think yellow just isn't that great of a color right now. And so we can change it to purple.
Okay, it's done. So we're going to move on to our next one, post a comment and click up. Event is post a comment, continue.
So that is how you add captions. From a design perspective, I'm not the guy to ask. You can probably come up with a better style for captions, but that's just how you do captions or subtitles. At the end is when you really dive in and do the new compositions. So these are all your compositions, and you can save these to the cloud for anyone to download. So if you're working with an editor like I do, I normally cut my video down to whatever I want in the video, and then I send him that link. So imagine you're making a video and this is your main one, and you're like, okay, this part, we need to make a video on this. This needs to be a separate video. This is going to go on multiple platforms. This is incredibly important. What we're going to do is we're just going to Control C. So you don't need to just cut things. You can copy it And this is just a YouTube clip video, and maybe it's going to be 5 minutes. So you want to include like a 5-minute clip, and you can just paste it. So now we have a new composition. And for this live stream, what we're going to do here is we're going to hit publish here at the top. When you publish it, it goes to the internet and it creates a web link. And it won't be available right away, but it's relatively quick. This one's already done. And so this is a public link. You can send anyone this link.
Task, we're going to put in ID.
And anyone can come in and add comments. This is where I add instructions to my editor. So within this sidebar right here, which I believe we can change it like this, I can start adding things for my editor. I can say here, add motion graphics, cool diagram of the Zapier model, whatever, blah, 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 blah. Let's say you want to add some B-roll, like you can go to Motion Array and grab the link to certain videos. We can copy this. We can copy the image address here and say, use this image here, and you paste that in, right? And so they have the links to all of the footage that you want to use, which is incredibly useful. And then maybe you send this to a coworker who to just add other comments, and they can add comments, be like, I don't like this. And they can add comments. So you can get people to submit feedback, and then your editor or anyone else can actually just download this and put it into whatever software that they want to do. Maybe you just upload this link for your social media manager to just upload on their end. So once it's finished on Descript and you want to schedule it, maybe you use some other scheduler so your team can go in and actually post it. They can download the video from the link super easily. And that's basically it. So it comes down to going through and adding different chapters so that you can navigate through. If it's a 2-hour video, it's going to take a while to get through. There's no AI tool that has the brains to go through and know exactly what you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. It's very nuanced, and it's up to your own taste, which is the human element. So in summary, you take the video, you upload it to Descript, or you can shoot the video in Descript. I don't normally do that. I'm used to OBS, so I don't care. Then you're going to cut and chapter. You're going to remove gaps. You're going to remove fillers. You're going to make the sound better very easily. It's on the sidebar. You hit script and then enhance audio or whatever it's called. Then you're going to add captions. Then you're going to create new compositions, and each of those compositions can have edit links. And then on those external ones, then you're going to add comments if you're giving a video editor directions on how to edit a video, or if you want external people to add videos, because to invite someone to add comments on the internal video is quite expensive. It's the same as adding a new user. So you want to keep that part external. And with that said, thank you so much for watching. I will see you here in the next video. Goodbye.